Good morning, sixth graders. Welcome to math lesson 82. What I have up here, and I blew it up so hopefully you see it. I want to keep the lights on because it would be really dark to see it and as well as to see the work on the board that I'm going to do. So it's a little different, but I think I blew it up well enough. I looked at it on the camera itself and it looked pretty good. So this is actually on page 399 of our lesson day. And today's lesson is lesson 82. It's dealing with ratios. We're on page 398 to 402. You're going to do 1 through 30. And the first off, these are all right here of what we call ratios. Right here. And you have three ways to write a ratio. You have a 13 to 15. 13 to 15 written with the colon. And then as a fraction, like we're very customly seeing. So whenever you've been writing a fraction, like 1/2, that is a ratio, a 1 to 2 ratio. All right, so now what we're doing though is we're going to look at how we use ratios to solve problems. So the first thing we're going to look at, if you take a look on page 339, it says, in this lesson we will focus on the fraction form of the ratio. When writing a ratio in a fraction form, we keep the following points in mind. And this is the key procedure for solving ratios. All right, so if we write out the terms of the ratio, first off, we write out the terms of the ratio in order as they're described. And I'm going to go through each one of these. 2, we reduce the ratios in the same manner as we reduce a fraction. So basically, if this was a fraction of 4/8, I reduce it the same way. 4 into 4 goes once, 4 into 8 goes twice. So I reduce the fraction out, and I reduce the ratio. All right. Third, we leave ratios in fraction form. We do not write ratios as mixed numbers. So that's a key part. So even if it is, what they're saying here on this point here, if the answer is 15/6, you don't change that to a mixed number because it's a ratio that you leave it as is. That would be your final answer when they're asking for a ratio. The key word is ratio. To leave your answer in ratio form, that's ratio form. Okay, so next part, let's go ahead and take a look at the first example. A team lost 3 games and won 7 games. What is the team's win-loss ratio? So first off, what I'm going to do over here, we have 1 loss ratio. That is what they're asking for. Because they say a team lost 3 games and won 7 games. But they say, what is their win-loss ratio? So the key here is what they're asking for. Notice I put 1 at the beginning, lost second, because that's what they asked. That's the question they asked. All right, what was their win-loss ratio? So I write first off, they won 7 games, lost 3. I put it in that order. I don't put it in the order that it showed up in the sentence, because the sentence says a team lost 3 games. In fact, I'll slide this up briefly and come back down to it, so because this is just like your book. Notice in the sentence it says, right here it says a team lost 3 games and won 7. This is what determines this ratio. I put 1 first and I put 3 second. So if I wrote it in a different form, like colon, I would have 7 colon 3, 7 to 3 ratio. Fraction, just like we did, or 7 to 3. 7 wins to 3 losses. I do it how the question is phrased. That is the key part when we're solving these. All right, let me move on. All right, I'm going to slide the book back up. And actually, you should have those in front of you, so I'm going to kind of keep going forward with this a little bit. That's what we just talked about. Number of games won 7, lost 3. We leave it in fraction form. All right, now, look at example 2. It says, in a class of 28 students, there are 12 boys. What is the ratio of boys to girls? So immediately, I have boys to girls. I'm setting that up because that's what the question asked. That's what I'm setting up. So a class of 28 students. So I already know there are 12 boys. All right, now I got to figure out girls. Well, I know I have a total of 28 students, so therefore I just need to subtract. 28 from 12 gives me 16. So that means I have 16 girls. And notice I have a 12, 16, but also notice I can reduce this. 12 sixteenths can be reduced. So if I take 12 sixteenths, I can reduce it down, find a common number. Well, I choose 4. 4 will go in to 12 3 times. 4 will go into 16 4 times. So my ratio of boys to girls is 3-4 or 3:4 or 3-2-4. Either way, all three are acceptable. This is very common. I see in the answer column. Is 3:4. A lot of kids like to leave me that answer. And so again, it'll work out. I'll accept any answer as far as those three choices. All right, now that was, but notice again, boys, girls, because boys came first. And this is the common mistake. This is the most common mistake. They get that reversed order, and then the ratio is flipped upside down. Don't do that. See how it's written out in the problem, please. Okay, now, let me erase this, pick another one. The next part we have, on next page, I am over on page 400. Taking a look at the practice problems is the ones I'm doing. You may want to do those by yourselves without me, but I'm still going to do A and B just as practice. It says, what is the ratio? And I'm going to flip the page here and bring the book back to it. Maybe. All right, here it is. What is the ratio of dogs to cats? All right, let me slide that a little even further over. Oops, wrong direction, wrong direction. There we go. What is the ratio of dogs to cats in the neighborhood? Okay, back up here. Read that again. Sorry about that. What is the ratio of dogs and cats in the neighborhood that has 18 cats and 12 dogs? All right. I almost threw an English question at you because it has the word that there after neighborhood, but I won't drag English into this. You've already had English. So, but anyway, 18 cats and 12 dogs. All right, so again, if you take a look at the statement they're having there, what is the ratio of dogs to cat in the neighborhood? So the question they're asking you, dogs to cat. That's what it is. So again, I'm going to have D over C. D for dog, C for cats. All right, there are 18 cats. So I have 18 cats. All right, now, I have also in dogs, I have 12 dogs. Now notice in this one they gave the ratio of everything first. In other words, dogs to cat of what they're asking, and put the numbers last. So now we're doing the same thing. We're going to reduce it just like we did the 4/8. Find a common number, which is going to, we look at it, we find 3 a common number. 3 will go into 12 4 times. 3 will go into 18 6 times. It'll even go further. 2 will go into 4 twice. 2 will go into 6 3 times. So the ratio of dogs D to C equals 2/3 or 2:3. Okay? So in other words, that is the ratio of that. So again, how you set it up. All right, doing the last one. Doing the last one with you. It says on the last one, it says, what is the girl-boy ratio in the class of 30 students with 14 boys? So we got to set it up, girl-boy. G for girls, B for boys. All right, equals. Now we know there's 14 boys, so that's a given. We know that there is, if we subtract that out, we know that from the 30, so I subtract it out. 30 minus 14 gives me 16. So that means I have girls of 16. All right, so I have a ratio of 16 to 14 of girls to boys. Reduce it down. But notice, I'm not going to change it to an improper fraction. I don't do it. or excuse me, change it to a mixed fraction, not improper. I'm going to reduce it down. So I find a common number. How many two? I'm going to use 2. 2, or excuse me, I'll use 2. 2 will go into 16 8 times. 2 will go into 14 7 times. 8 to 7 or 8 colon 7. And in other words, I do not change. I'm not going to change this. My answer will not be 1 1/7. If you do, it will be wrong. You leave it when you're dealing with ratio into an improper fraction because it's really a ratio. And that is because they're asking for a ratio. They're asking the question ratio. All right, now, so that is basically how ratio. This is the beginning part. You must have this understanding of this beginning. So if this is an all fuzzy, you got to be calling me. Because this is going to get more and more complex, I promise you. And there's additional things going to be built into this that you use in story problems. They're going to make a lot harder problems. These are easy, I know that. But it's going to get more complex. So, again, call if you need me. Thanks a lot.